bringing you the latest from Utah State University's Uinta Basin Regional Campus. This is Aggie Update. Now, here's your host, Bob Peterson.
Thanks for joining us today on Aggie Update. Before we get to our guest, let's give a few announcements for you, especially students who are attending USU here in the Uinta Basin. April 1st, a very important deadline for you to remember. That's the admissions deadline, as well as our scholarship deadline. It seems like that date comes rolling around sooner than we'd like. April 1, admissions into USU, Uinta Basin, and if you wait later than that, it's going to be a $15 a fee involved, so hopefully get it in before April 1, $40 for admissions. Scholarship applications due April 1st. You can go right online and fill out our many application forms. We have great donors and USU scholarships that you can fill out right on Google Doc right there on our form as well. April 1st deadline, that's for the next academic year, fall and spring semester. Also want you to be aware of the federal aid opportunities that are available. Go online to the FAFSA online application for federal aid. Many students forget to apply for federal grants, which the nice part about that is you're not having to pay them back. And so as you apply for scholarships, make sure you still apply for federal aid, which could come in the form of grants or even loans that you might take out for your schooling needs. That's all for the announcements. We'll be right back.
My name is Mike Christiansen. I currently teach organic chemistry here.
My name is Shirlene Law. I am a lecturer here at Utah State University, Uinta Basin in Family, Consumer, and Human Development.
My name is Rich Etchberger. I'm the wildlife science professor here at the Uinta Basin.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Kutch. I'm a lecturer, advisor, and director for the Secondary Teacher Education Program.
Thanks for joining us today. Joining me this week is Dr. Seth Lyman, Director for Commercialization and Regional Development at the Bingham Entrepreneur and Energy Research Center. That's a long title, Dr. Lyman. I had to have fun with that. I visited with Dr. Lyman earlier today, and I have his business card here, and I'm glad they had it queued up for me because
yeah, it gets a little heavy.
It's nice to have you here.
Well, thanks a lot. I'm glad to be here.
And you've been very busy, and I'd like to take this occasion for our viewers to get to know you a little bit. Not a native of the Uinta Basin. Let's just start with where you're from.
Okay. Well, I actually grew up not too far from Lake Tahoe in California on a ranch there, and I grew up there. We had horses and cows, and when I went to college, I decided I wanted to have a job that let me stay outside, and that's why I pursued science, and especially environmental science, so that I could work outdoors, and eventually on a long path that led me over here.
So schooling in California, did you attend a school in California?
I didn't. As an undergraduate, I was at BYU, and then I went to the University of Nevada, Reno for graduate studies, and after I finished graduate school, my PhD at the University of Nevada, then I went to the University of Washington, first as a postdoctoral researcher, then as a research faculty, and from there moved over here.
Always took an interest in the environment.
Yeah, I guess so. I like I say, I like to be outside. So unfortunately, with my job now, I have a lot of different hats, and I only get out maybe 2 or 3 days a week. But it's good enough. It beats being a banker, I guess. Sorry to any bankers out there.
So tell us a little bit about your family. You're married and children.
That's right. I have 3 kids. One who just started kindergarten, down to a 1-year-old. Okay. So we are loving it here so far.
The transition's been well for them? Are they in school right now?
Yeah. The oldest is in kindergarten, and she has fun with it. We live up Dry Fork Way and have a nice little place up there that we enjoy a lot.
Good. So prior to this position, where were you working before here?
I was at a branch campus of the University of Washington, and we had moved there. It was a good opportunity job-wise, but it's a little big for us over there. Too many people, and my wife and I both enjoy the desert. We really liked living in Nevada, so we were happy to find a place here that is more kind of we like the arid environment. We think it's pretty, and we also wanted to move somewhere small, definitely smaller than the Seattle area where we were before.
We're so happy to have you here in the Uinta Basin. Dr. Lyman's office is in the Bingham Research Center, for short, the Bingham Entrepreneurship and Energy Research Center. How's that? He's right there when you walk in the front door, is right to the right, right close to Dean Edwards' office. And you serve a crucial role here. I mean, the environment is important for many reasons here for our economy, for recreationalists, for all of us. So your timing couldn't be better to be here to help us.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, our office, the Office of Commercialization and Regional Development, our central role is economic development in this region. And the reason that ties into the environment is because environmental issues, especially air quality here, could affect economic development. And so that's become our focus of what we're trying to do, is help the community deal with and overcome those problems.
Dr. Behunin, who used to work out here, who's now a vice president, you work under him, is that correct?
That's right. Rob Behunin's my boss.
And you say more under the economic areas, but in this case, environmental studies as well. So that's quite a difference.
Yeah, that's right. We do a few different things. We get involved with unconventional fuels development a little bit. I'm going to Estonia in June to participate in NFIT's oil shale summit and help them with the environment part of that. And so the two, kind of the energy development, economic development, and the environment kind of dovetail together with what we do.
I would have to think that Mark and Debbie Bingham would be really, they are really pleased to have you here as far as the energy research that they thought of this building as they helped fund the building. To have you here, that's probably very important for them.
Well, we're grateful for their contributions to the building and the equipment there that we use all the time in our environmental research.
We have a lot of equipment upstairs in that building.
We sure do.
And you're probably making use of a lot of that.
Yep, as well as quite a bit of equipment that we have at sites around the basin.
I would give tours occasionally, and I'd take kids up there, and I would just be able to point in the rooms and say, there's a lot of expensive equipment in there. Don't ask me any more questions about what they do, but I know they study soil, water, and air, and a whole host of other things. And from what I understand, we're very fortunate to have such instrumentation there, because they don't have those instruments in many places.
Yeah, in fact, we get people from Logan saying they wish they had the kind of equipment we have in Logan. But that's just the generosity of the community and the people who were invested in putting that building and its equipment together. So we're really lucky to have it.
And you're right. You don't sit very mobile very often in your desk. You're always out and about. You're in Levi's, you're driving through muddy roads, you're taking samples. So again, your work is very crucial here to the residents of the Uinta Basin.
Yeah, it sure is varied. It's hard to find me, especially this time of year, in the office.
Well, we're happy to have you here, and we're excited to hear more about, in the upcoming segment, about, you had a big press conference the other day, and a lot of media was there to hear about studies and what we found in our environment. You've had a couple of years, last year, to study, and you're going to give some results. I guess you gave some results, and maybe to our audience you can tell us what you observed from last year.
We'd be happy to do that.
So we'll be right back with Dr. Lyman shortly and talk about that and his crucial role here in the Uinta Basin as he works in the Bingham Center. We'll be right back.
My name is Mike Christiansen. I currently teach organic chemistry here.
My name is Charlene Law. I am a lecturer here at Utah State University, Uinta Basin in Family, Consumer, and Human Development.
My name is Rich Edgeberger. I'm the wildlife science professor here at the Uinta Basin.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Kutch. I'm a lecturer, advisor, and director for the secondary teacher education program.
Welcome back to Aggie Update. We're here with Dr. Seth Lyman, an employee, a scientist, if you will, at the Bingham Energy Research Center. Good to have you here again, Seth. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
You know, we mentioned earlier in the last segment about your study of the ozone. And, you know, for a lot of people, including myself, we sometimes don't know exactly what is actually the ozone and what's the significance of it in our everyday lives.
Ozone well, there are actually ozone in two places. Ozone in the stratosphere, you hear about the ozone hole or ozone depletion. Up in the stratosphere, then it helps block UV light that can be harmful to us. Down near the surface, ozone is a problem for our health. When you breathe ozone, especially sensitive populations, people with asthma, emphysema, or other lung conditions, or who are frail in other ways, can be susceptible to ozone pollution. So they breathe it in and it causes lung problems.
So when you're talking global warming type issues, that's a little higher in the ozone there. It can be both, perhaps?
That's right. So ozone higher in the atmosphere, about at the altitude where a commercial airliner flies, is good for us. It blocks harmful rays from the sun. Down here at the surface, it's formed in a different way. It's formed from mostly human activity and human-caused pollution, and it can have harmful health effects.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
We learn every day new things. We hear it all the time, but to hear it from a scientist
Yeah.
is a lot better. You know, around here in the Uinta Basin, and you've made that your home now, we have a lot of oil production going on. We have area businesses, our economy's growing. Why is that such a concern? And tell me the desires of the oil companies and these businesses that want to grow here. Why should they be geared into what you're studying? What's on their minds?
Okay, well, first of all, it's important to remember that most of the year, most of the time, we have really good air quality in the Uinta Basin, a lot better than more populated areas of Utah. And there's only, under certain wintertime conditions, then we tend to have high ozone. And so those conditions, when we do have high ozone, the EPA has regulations where if you exceed certain standards, then they require more onerous regulations than might otherwise be the case. And so our goal as a group here in the community is to help the community learn more about that problem, develop solutions that are effective at reducing the problem so we can protect human health, but that also protect the economic development of our community. And we know that includes the oil and gas industry, since that's a big part of our economy.
So as they're looking to expand, they're wanting to know what they can do, and they're waiting to be told what they need to do to help improve conditions.
Yeah, that's true. And we've already seen companies with new leases, Newfield, Anadarko, and Gasco, with all those new leases that have recently been approved, then they've enacted new environmental control measures that haven't been in place before, and so they're being proactive and doing what they can to deal with the problem. The central issue, I think, is the issue of ozone pollution. Until about 8 years ago, was thought to only occur in the summertime and only in urban areas. In 2006, we first saw ozone pollution in a rural area in southeast or southwestern Wyoming in the Upper Green River Basin, and since then, in 2009, then we saw the same issue here. And because it's a winter time instead of summertime, and because it's urban or rural here instead of urban throughout the rest of the country where there are ozone problems, there are a lot of things new to science that we don't understand about the issue yet. And the real concern is that when regulators say, well, you have to do something about this problem, they will recommend or even require controls or other regulations that work in an urban environment in the summertime but don't work for us. So we want to make sure that when there are changes that may need to be made, that they are effective the first time and have a minimal cost for the industry.
You're doing some groundbreaking research then, because we are in a rural environment. Not too many people are used to studying that in rural America, and here you are in Utah, and it's such an impact for us because of the oil exploration, because of us wanting to live here. And I think it's important to point out to our audience, like you did, that there are relatively just a few days that we have really bad, harmful air. And I think sometimes we look outside and say, oh, it's scary, and it may not be quite as bad as we may think it is.
Yeah, that's true. And the media is really interested in environmental effects of oil and gas right now, especially the national media. And it seems like anything that comes out, they spin it as being really negative. And it's true, we do have air quality issues here, but that's all relative. And I personally would much rather breathe the air here than in the Salt Lake Valley.
Time's really short, but what did we learn from last year's study that you conveyed to the masses the other day, the press?
The most important thing that came out of that study is how meteorologically driven the ozone problem is. When we have the right conditions, we have high ozone. And years like last year, without much snow cover and without strong inversions, we don't have high ozone, and we have great air.
So this was a study based on last year that you've got the results that you've posted and you've given to the media. So we'll be anxious to hear next year what this year brought. Correct?
Yeah, that's right. And we unfortunately have had some worse air quality conditions this year, which has allowed us to get some more information that we need to understand the problem. But we'll leave it at that. We'll see what comes out of it. Right now, we're still digging through the data and making sense of it.
Well, it's so good that you're here, and I think all the residents of the Uinta Basin are appreciative of what you're doing to find out more about our air, about our water, about the quality of life here, because that's what it really essentially boils down to, how well life is here as a result of what we do, and we do a lot of oil and exploration, so the healthier we can make it, the better. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
For more information on Dr. Lyman's work, you can join us on our website at uintabasin.usu.edu. And that's it for Aggie Update. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Seth Lyman, and I'm an Aggie.